fall camp. This is preseason camp, whatever you want to call it. Tell me you're with me on this, not fall camp.
It's hot out there, man. We got back in the office here a week or two ago and got out there for workouts and runs, team run and all that. And a couple guys walking off as a staff, looking at each other like, man, we better hydrate for practice. So,
it's bad when the coaches are saying we got to get some fluid.
Can only imagine when, putting a helmet on and putting all the pads on. So
I'm going to ask you, I asked Jeff Lebby this question when I had him on right after the spring. I asked Blake Shapen this question when I had him on this summer. Now I'm going to ask you, coaches love to talk about you learn the most through adversity. A lot of adversity at Mississippi State last season. What did you learn about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously use the offseason to evaluate, right? And you self-evaluate, you evaluate specifically to your position group, and then as the coordinator to the defense. And we learned a ton. We learned a ton about, our kids' ability to persevere week after week and through the struggle, continue to go out there and play with great effort and have a great mindset. Every Monday they came in the building. You learn about, myself as a coordinator and the things that in a first year calling the defense, that you did well and obviously that you didn't do well and you need to improve on. So, that's what the off season's for, is for that reflection and for that learning process. And now, with fall camp, it's time to go forward, right? And that's what's exciting.
So you've been all over this conference. You coached a number of different stops before you came here in Mississippi State. You know what you're looking for when you see an SEC defense. You know when you walk out of the field, like, those guys can play. In the spring, did you see a defense out there that you're like, that's a group that can compete in this conference?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the, additions that we made in January, walking out on that grass in spring ball, it felt and it looked a lot different. And so that's exciting. It starts up front, big people beat up little people. And so the additions that we made, along the defensive line and on the edges in terms of pass rushers and edge setters is huge. And so, that's exciting. It gives everyone on defense on all three levels a lot of confidence. If I'm a DB and I know I got a really good pass rusher up there, I don't have to cover long, right? And so, it starts up front, and that was our dedication, through the transfer portal window, and excited to see those guys get going here in fall.
So I wouldn't let you use this word a year ago, but with the guys you brought in on defense, the amount of depth you were able to create defensively, it really feels like you have the opportunity to be more multiple this fall than you were before.
Yeah, I mean, you're through the season last season, we had to do what we had to do, right? And that is what it is. Now going forward, we feel like we have, like you mentioned, great depth. We feel like we have some playmakers in certain spots, and you can't sit in one coverage, you can't sit in one front. You've got to change it up on quarterbacks and change it up on offensive coordinators in this league.
The name that I hear the most, out of practice and everything, the guy whose name has consistently come up in the offseason the most is Jamil Burroughs, who's, I think, a very interesting story, a guy that was out of football, but we knew he was a big-time talent in high school, had offers to play at Alabama, then went to Miami, now here at Mississippi State. What can you tell us about Jamil Burroughs and what kind of player he can be for you this fall?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a reunion for he and I. I mean, we were together in 21 at Bama, and being able to get him through his journey and through his story to putting the pads back on and another opportunity to compete is exciting. I'm excited for him. He's a guy that is an athletic big man, right? I mean, he's a 300-pound plus guy who is light on his feet, and can do, and be disruptive along the interior. And so excited, to get him going and cut him loose. He had a good spring. And so, he's been a great addition, through the January window.
We were talking on the podcast yesterday about some players that we're keeping an eye on, maybe not going to be starters right off the bat, but guys who could make an impact. One of the names I mentioned was Tyler Lockhart, the true freshman linebacker. From you as a coach, how quickly into a preseason camp can you tell, okay, this guy's a true freshman, but we have to find some snaps for him this fall?
Yeah, I mean, what's great for Tyler is the mid-year piece, and being here for 15 practices and being here for a winter conditioning, right, into spring ball. And, that nowadays, I used to be on the fence about, do you graduate mid-year or do you not, right? You're only a senior one time and you have a senior spring. But you look at the numbers now, freshmen who play, I don't know the exact number, but I bet you it's well over 90% were mid-years. And so that head start really gives him a great advantage. I'm excited about what he showed in the spring. He's got some natural ability to rush the passer. He's got some natural ability to play in space. I mean, he's a great combination of athleticism and size. And so, we're going to continue to go. He's got a lot of room to grow and develop and some technique and tools, things like that. But he's got a bright future.
You got some new faces, obviously, on the depth chart, but some new faces on the coaching staff as well. I want to start by asking about Coach Dancy, who I don't feel like we've talked about a lot since he arrived here in Starkville. But this guy's a former head coach, was out at Colorado with Dion the past year. What is his role with Coach Turner and how they're splitting up that defensive line, and what does he bring to your staff?
He's been a tremendous addition. He's a Mississippi guy, number one, and the ability to get him back home and in his home state has been huge. He is coaching the defensive ends and the jack outside linebacker for us, and so that puts Coach Turner with the tackles and noses along the interior. They'll team up obviously when it comes to just whole pass rush and things like that. But he's been a great addition. Does a great job with his players. Does a great job bringing an edge and a mindset of what Mississippi State defense is all about, as well as just saw great improvement with our edge guys in terms of their pass rush, and we saw that through the spring.
And then from an analyst position, Paul Rhodes and Mike McIntyre, those are two names that if you're a college football fan, you're very familiar with those guys. They've been everywhere and done it all. What is their role within your system as an analyst, and what are they going to bring to you on game day?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just blessed to have two guys like that. Obviously as a young coordinator, there's things that you're continuing to learn and grow, and two unbelievable, defensive minds and just coaches and who have been in the game for a long time, to be able to lean on. And they've been great. They've got their own kind of specialties in terms of Coach Rhodes being a back end guy and Coach Mack, more of a front seven guy, but former head coaches, former coordinators, just unbelievable resources for me and for our players and for our staff. And they've been awesome.
Obviously, when we talk about goals in camp, number one for every coach is just to stay healthy. But that's everywhere you go. Is there a specific to Mississippi State goal that you have this camp that you look at your team and you go, this has to be something we improve upon?
We haven't changed in terms of our core values, and that's effort, technique, and execution, right? And so when we talk as a defense, our first unit meeting, it starts with that. And that we've never wavered from that. And so, a year under our belt and now, moving forward into this season, there's a lot of confidence in the depth, like you mentioned earlier, and the roster and the position that we're in now from a year ago, but also the confidence in, scheme and what we're doing and being able to go out and play fast and execute at a really high level. And so that's been our challenge through the off season, and that'll be our goal going forward in fall camp.
Obviously, it's going to be an interesting season and an interesting start.